So very good afternoon, good evening to everyone, and thank you so much for staying back for our session. I have some friends, some industry colleagues, and EdTech founders and entrepreneurs on this panel. And while we were having lunch and interacting in the speakers' lounge, we had some great conversations. And in fact, these are certain, the summary of these conversations that we will bring to you, and please feel free to ask us questions so that we make this session very interactive. Rather than we just sharing our thoughts, our ideas to you, I would strongly encourage each one of you to participate, because first of all, let me look at the theme of today's session. It is about EdTech giants partnering with traditional universities. Let me remove the word traditional from there. No longer are universities traditional, because when we are the very fact that we are bringing in skills, which is a huge transformational change for the student, for professors, and also for the entire ecosystem. It's not about adding more courses or learning material to the student, but we are modernizing the entire ecosystem of higher education, where skills are an integral part. Because today, if you look at India, or probably let me use the word Viksit Bharat, it's about how transformational India can be, poised towards the digital trends that we are adopting in our day-to-day life. How do we make sure that students of today are global contributors to the entire economy? So yes, with that, before I start today's discussion, I'm sure all of us have already been introduced, but maybe we can just pick up the mic, call out our name and the organizations just to kick start it, so that I can formally start today's panel discussion. I'll begin with myself. Garima Babbar, I'm the country head for education and skills at Adobe.
I am Dr. Anuranjan Misra, Professor and Dean Innovation at Greater Noida Institute of Technology, Greater Noida.
Hi everyone, I am Rahul Attuluri, co-founder and CEO at Nxtwave.
Hi everyone, I'm Dipankar. I'm the Managing Director South Asia for the University of New South Wales, UNSW Sydney.
Hi, I am Aatash Shah. I am the Senior Vice President at UNext and Business Head at Manipal Academy of BFSI.
Thank you. I think a round of applause to banta hai. Thank you so much for that. So I was reading the new report, of World Economic Forum, Future of Jobs. I hope all of you have seen the trends, how jobs will be displaced, 170 million new jobs, and towards the end of it, how technology, and probably let me call it, the technological literacy, I would say, not digital literacy. It's technological, literacy of technology that is important, whether it is AI, big data, but at the same time, human-centric skills are also equally important as technology is. So with that, my first question is to Dr. Anuranjan Misra. So with your vast experience of being a professor and also a great proponent and practitioner of technology in experience, what are your views? What are the current trends? And as in my introduction, I said that let's remove the word traditional from the entire topic of today's panel discussion, because we want to modernize the entire education system, and how large universities like yours preparing the students to really contribute meaningfully on the global landscape. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, in the today's environment, the traditional learning, that is, I think so, that is the blackboard learning, that is equally important, and the EdTech-based learning is equally important. Because the technology is growing so fast, like the AI implementation of AI. If you are giving them assignment to the students, they are using chatbot, and teachers are ready to check by AI tools whether they have done the assignment by themselves or they use the chatbot, right? So they should have this facility. And apart from this, there are many AI-based tools so that students can learn and update themselves. Apart AR, VR-based learning, so that the students can learn, can see the concept directly. Okay, this is the practical. Sometimes the machinery is not there, even if they can use the AR, VR technology. So we have this technology. Apart from this, we have the innovation nest software, by which you can see that how much patents are there in the birds, and how the new technology works, what is there, what is the new innovations. So by using the innovation nest software, you can see this, and we have this. Apart from this, we have an incubation center, so that some students got the new idea, they can get up to this present time what ideas have been already been implemented, or what we can implement, how we can talk to the other companies. So by using innovation nest, you can get each and every information about the companies. Okay, this is developed by this company, and you can do this research by using this. So students are doing that. Apart from the after this COVID-19, the bird has changed to the online also. Or in the online platform, you can see the assignments of the student. Students can see the assignment, teachers, lectures. They can see online also, apart from the offline. So all these facilities are available in our institution. And for the students, not only the placement is important. We have our own company also, CSDC, for the so that students can aware about the old and new ideas and what is going into the company. And we have the MOU with many companies for the skill development of the students, so that this is the particular gap between this technocrats which are running on the industry and which we teach in our institute. So this gap can be filled. So we have all these facilities in our institution, and we are looking for the more collaboration, so that in daily enhancing world we can get the information, we can prepare our students for this.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Misra. I think you laid emphasis on two very important points, which are really essential. I would say the key ingredients for today: A, research, and B, innovation. Innovation is not something that you have to look for anything from outside. This is one of the most human-centric skills, and again quoting the Future of Jobs report, this is considered as fourth more essential skill: creativity, critical thinking, and something that I believe, and this is something that my team is also implementing as a part of our projects with various governments and higher ed institutions. Moving forward, Rahul, while you and I, we were having a conversation about Nxtwave, which focuses on bridging the gap between industry and academia by really enhancing industry-relevant skills, because we are in an age where it's important that we as industry leaders or as EdTech providers, we make sure that we understand the needs of the industry, their hiring patterns, what are the skills that they need, what kind of jobs are available, so that the offers that we make to the students within the universities are directly aligned to the needs of the industry or the HR heads. So your mission is to build India's largest online employability platform, and this I picked up, the line from your mission on your website, and this is for the tech careers. So I'm curious to understand why tech careers, and please elaborate on your, wonderful operating model, and that is something that all of us can learn and go back and apply in our respective businesses as well. So over to you, Rahul.
Thanks, Garima, and thanks everyone for having me here to discuss about the future of education. I think Garima has succinctly described about what we do at Nxtwave. As we all understand, it's been 2.5 years since generative AI has come up, and the buzz that is creating around the world. Today, people are talking about the future of jobs. Everybody is worried about AI replacing jobs, and companies are also equally worried about their own sustenance. Today, in recent conversation, Satya Nadella was speaking about SaaS is dead. I mean, he didn't literally mean that, but he was talking about the potential of how SaaS companies could get revolutionized with AI agents and everything else. So I think this is not just about the way individuals upskill themselves, but it's also about how companies are also redefining themselves with the new and emerging technologies that are happening right now. And I think the gap between academia and industry is widening with these new emerging technologies like generative AI that is happening right now. So it's becoming increasingly hard for universities to adopt to the changes that are happening. And we at Nxtwave try to bridge the gap between academia and industry, trying to understand the landscape, how is it changing, how is the new job role emerging given the context of changing market. And today we work with more than 3,000 plus IT companies, trying to understand how the problem statements that they were working on is changing, how the job role is emerging with newer tools that are disposable for each and every developer that they have, and then back propagating the changes in the industry to curriculum, mostly around like building skills that are needed for student to be able to add value to the companies, which are also continuously changing. And I think to the question that Garima has asked in terms of like, why exactly technology? I think technology is a great lever in terms of solving problems and creating opportunities. We have seen firsthand in our own last 2 decades in terms of how internet has changed the way we interact with the world. And we have seen firsthand in terms of how mobile has brought about a significant change in the way we interact with the world, making a lot more things accessible to each and everyone. And now with AI and generative AI, people are calling it the new electricity. So I think the possibilities of technology are immense, and we are yet to see AI embedding into each and every sort of work that we do on a day-to-day basis, be it like at home or at work. I think while AI as a technology has been there, but I think with generative AI, it has become more and more accessible for everyone to be able to unlock the power of AI. And it is yet to be completely embraced by the entire world in each and every day use. So I think given the kind of scope or opportunity for AI to be embraced into our day-to-day lives and into our work, given and the kind of value addition that it can bring to the world, and where do we stand? So I think there is a lot more, while the technology power is there, but it is yet to be unlocked. And for it to be unlocked, we need more and more people who are well equipped with the skills of AI, who can identify the problem statements or identify the opportunities, and then try to devise solutions or create blueprints, and then implement them and make sure that the value is created. I think which can create wealth for the overall world. So that's why we are quite excited about AI and technology. And it's not just about the like technology or like electricity. It is like cutting across domains, like be it agriculture or be it in terms of logistics or healthcare, pharma. So today, like the way electricity is so core of everything that we do, I think the opportunity for AI is also quite similar. So it's at the, it is foundation for all the new paradigm which can create a differentiated value across different domains, be it in the domain of agriculture or logistics or media and entertainment. Each and every facet of our life can be seen through a different paradigm of generative AI. So I think that's where a lot of potential is yet to be unlocked, and we need more and more number of people who would be working on AI to solve or create opportunities using that. And our operating model is quite simple. So we do it in wide variety formats, so online, offline, part-time, full-time programs. And we also work with universities and colleges, and we integrate our curriculum into the university, given the NEP 2020, which states that 40% of the curriculum can be delivered by industry partners like us. I think it allows deeper collaboration with universities to ensure the new age and emerging skills are also made part of the curriculum. And it's been 4 years since we started Nxtwave as a company. And more than 2,000 plus IT companies have hired our students, thousands of students. I think when we approach with a skill-first approach, collaboration with universities and alignment with the industry, when all of these things can come together, I think we'll be able to solve for the employability problem of the country. So that's what we have been doing. And as each day progresses, I think given the rapid change of technology, so like all the tech giants, including like Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, if they have to be on their toes to ensure they stay relevant, I think we as a company and every student needs to be stay on toes in terms of embracing the newer skills and ensure that they'll be in a position to create value for the world.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rahul. I think point very well taken that you consulted about 3,000 odd IT customers to understand what are the job roles which they need. How can you be that facilitator between the industry's requirement and the students who are passing out from various universities, and using your online platform, you were able to bridge that gap very beautifully, so that on one side, while you're providing skills, you are also ensuring that there is some sort of job assurance, some indication that is available towards the back end, which can be a ray of hope for the student to continue moving forward. So, and yes, national education policy lays huge emphasis on use of technology and skills. And that is something that we are not just looking at the higher ed institutions, but this has to be at a progressive level, from K-12 to higher ed. And then, of course, it is a lifelong learning process. We cannot say that, hey, just because I did something, a course which I did about 10 years back, that is relevant. As technology is upgrading, we also have to constantly reboot, upgrade ourselves, so that we are also relevant to perform better, to work better, and of course, feel a part of the growing technological needs. You have a question? Yes, please go on.
First of all, thank you for mentioning the K-12 segment, because nobody is talking about the gap between the K-12 and the higher ed.
You want this mic?
No, I don't need it.
All right, but you're audible. Go ahead.
So I present Shah schools, and we work really hard to integrate tech in our ecosystem. And if you look at the young learners of today, they are very, very savvy. But we do understand that there is a certain, not every child may have the same facility, but then are we looking at tech as a space for holistic integration across the different learning levels? So far there is no conversation about bridging the gap between
Can we have another chair here? Can we have one more panelist of K-12, please?
No,
I don't think this panel is just cast in stone for higher ed. I invite you here, please. No, I'd like you to be here, please. Can I have a chair, please, organizers, if anybody is in the room?
No, seriously, why I'm asking is because
You should come here and share your thoughts.
A lot of people here from the tech space, and a lot of people who understand where is it that the children need to be guided in terms of careers of tomorrow.
Totally.
And I think that the building blocks of it are at the K-12 level, when the child is really deciding whether they want to go for a competitive exam, so is the national curriculum a better choice, or is an international curriculum a better choice? These are choices which define careers of tomorrow. So where is the tech integration, and what are the areas that we should be looking to bridge the gap between K-12 and higher education as well? And so maybe
you've hit the nail on the head. Yeah. So Nitin from my team, he heads the K-12 piece of it. So while we work as an organization, sorry, I'm derailing this panel a bit. So while of course I know this panel is more about high rate and reskilling, but so we do a lot of work, and particularly with Shiv and other schools as well. You're bang on. It's not just about what kind of board you are in, but also EdTech plays a very important role in bridging that gap, that if we are able to skill students right from foundational years, and that's what even CBSE is doing. They They have mandated skill development courses from grade 6 to grade 12. Then there are a lot of teacher trainings which are happening as a part of NEP, so that there's more adoption that happens at the school level. But yes, you do have a valid point that if we are unable to inculcate skills or orient students on basic skills, maybe a little bit of soft skills or what are the jobs there, and then going forward in higher education, you have EdTech players who are offering proper skilled courses with degrees, with certificates, and which route that they have to do. Yes, thank you very much for bringing up the K-12 piece, which was missing as a part of the panel, but you filled in beautifully. So going back to you, Dipankar, I wanted to bring in, the international aspect of it. So while University of New South Wales, Sydney, as a managing director, South Asia, you are a great proponent of students and the role of international universities. But what are your thoughts about, how can universities like yours can partner or have been partnering? Maybe a few examples or, certain best practices that you want to share with us, which will be relevant for us in India, or, over to you for your thoughts.
So examples of partnering in India, right?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, Garima. And probably before I start, I would probably say that the Harvard Business School says that be confident but not arrogant, be ambitious but be humble. So be ambitious. And whatever credentials I would speak about my university, I'm saying it ambitiously. So UNSW is, some of you are not aware, is a member of the Group of 8, World Top 20. Australia's #1 for business engineering research, Australia's #1 for employability, and world number 29 for employability. So we've been talking about preparing students for jobs, for the next bits. We have really strong credentials there. In terms of, so our global strategy is to develop a UNSW global learning community. So we deliver superlative education, but lifelong education. It's not just coming into doing your undergraduate, postgraduate, then your high degree research, PhDs, but there is a very strong emphasis on lifelong learning and on, instilling practical skills in the students. So I'll share some examples as to how we do that, both globally and across in India. So in Australia or across the world, we have set up what you call the AGSM. And the AGSM was set up about 40 years ago to elevate Australia's leadership capacity. So these are executive education programs which are traditionally delivered online or in a hybrid mode. And again, we are Australia's #1 in that, training about 18,000 of them. When we come to India, we are also delivering, these professional development courses with leading organizations like Infosys, like the Tatas, where we come and deliver bespoke program for these organizations, for their cadres. In terms of your question, Garima, about how do we kind of prepare students for the next level and how practical is the knowledge that they kind of get. Now, we always have this theory that, theory without practice is sterile, and practice without theory is blind. So students get involved in real-life projects. So an example to give you is, if you can look up Google, there is a project called SunSwift Global. Now, this is a project involving students to develop the world's fastest solar-powered racing car. And this started with a PhD concept. It got evolved. Last year, I think the range got somewhere about 500 kilometers, entirely solar-powered. And we have won a number of records in this. Now, how does this project get over? There are academics, there are researchers, but there are students who get involved in it. In our courses, we have mandatory concept of work-integrated learning. And this work-integrated learning is for not only for companies that are based in Australia, but internationally. So we have, in India, we have partnerships with Infosys, we have partnership with the Tatas, we have partnership with HCL, we have partnership with some leading renewable energy companies, wherein our students come in and do their internships in these organizations. So it's like a win-win situation where the student kind of learns practical skills, learns what is there in the job industry, what is happening, goes back, gets a top-up of their knowledge and hence become more and more employable and industry ready. And, it's not just the theory that he learns, but the social skills, the skills about working in a multidisciplinary team, the skills about working in a multicultural team. These are aspects that no theory or no book or no professor can teach. This is like you've got to get into the water if you want to learn swimming. So it's like that. So these are some of the traits or some of the practices that we have. On the lifelong education piece, now we have been doing that in Australia. We have been doing that across the Asia Pacific, especially in Papua New Guinea, in Indonesia. We are very strongly looking at India. We are talking to a few players by which we can bring in our non-award suite of programs in the market, particularly for working professionals, so that we do recognize that, professionals who are now working, they need to know how to solve a problem. It's not about a degree that matters. So how can we leverage technology or use technology to basically impart this at scale and at having impact? Another area of telling you is in the area of public health. Now, public health is again one of our very strong areas, and we are working with MedVarsity in India through Polo to deliver a program around public health and infectious diseases. This has been running for the last 5 to 6 years. It's very successful. Again, an example of how we are working in the skilling in the non-award space in India, partnering with it. So similarly like that, there are plenty of examples. But I think I'll stop here for interest of time and allow the next speaker, but then very happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Dipankar. And just taking the thread forward, Aatash, learning is a lifelong journey. And I know this is something that I completely believe in. And 85% of employers today are prioritizing reskilling in workforce and opening the door to bridge the skill gap and drive innovation. Being a founder and CEO of an EdTech platform on data science and upskilling, and now you are the head of business at UNext. How are you working towards making them employable? And I also want you to touch upon the point of what we were discussing, that it's not just employability, but also entrepreneurship, which is equally important. While we are looking at joining jobs, but equally important is creating jobs as well. So over to you, Aatash.
Thanks, Garima. So I think I'll just, apart from the points that you mentioned, I'll just touch upon also the theme of the panel today, which is EdTech's partnering with traditional universities. And when I go back to 2013, when I started my startup, Advancer, which was into upskilling and reskilling people in the areas of data science and AI, at that time, the whole space of EdTech was very new. AI was barely even a buzzword. And the concept of online learning, even for people in this country, was something which was very, very new. And at that time, our belief was that, universities and our education system has kind of failed to bring in the change, to bring in the kind of skills that industry requires, right? Even at that time, universities were probably, 10 to 15 years behind the curve in terms of what they were teaching people. And our thought was that, we should replace these universities with such kind of tech companies. Over a period of time, we realized and came to the conclusion that universities are not going to go anywhere, because people still want that trust and credibility that a recognized institution brings in, right? So we came to the conclusion then that EdTech and universities are going to be more of a symbiotic relationship rather than a replacement for one or the other. And that's where we started partnering with different universities. We started with IIT Kanpur, and we went on to a couple of universities where we offered co-branded programs, brought in the kind of learning from the professors at these universities we brought in the practical aspects of these areas and essentially brought in that brand and credibility that a university brings in. Now that I'm working with UNext Learning, which is part of the Manipal group, we are essentially the in-house EdTech for Manipal universities. UNext handles and provides services to Manipal universities for their entire suite of online degree programs. And within UNext, we also have a very interesting organization called as Manipal Academy of BFSI, where till date we have trained more than 200,000 people for the BFSI sector. 100,000 of them being freshers straight from colleges. Right? So we have a lot of experience and background now in understanding what the freshers and especially today's youth require in terms of the skill sets. Now coming to your point of lifelong learning, so not only are we training freshers, now once these people have gone into the BFSI companies, many of them will come back through these companies for further upskilling, whether it's in terms of their domain knowledge, in terms of their functional knowledge, or even in terms of leadership skills. So once a person has spent, let's say, 7-8 years in the BFSI company, they reach a position where the company wants them to learn more about how to manage people, right? And that's where we bring them back for a program on leadership learning. Now with the advent of AI in full force over the last couple of years, the importance of lifelong learning is going to increase further, right? Today, no skill set is safe from AI, especially at a cognitive level. And that's where the importance of some of the softer skills also comes into play. Whether it is communication, whether it is leadership, whether it is critical thinking, all these gain a lot of importance. And to bring about the point that the lady from Shivnadar mentioned, that many of these things will need to start getting inculcated right at the K-12 level itself, right? And from the K-12 level, we will have to bring in a lot of lifelong learning acceptability into universities, into workforce, into the workplace itself. As far as, obviously jobs versus entrepreneurship is concerned, as someone mentioned that, jobs are not really, I would say, the number of jobs may not decline because of AI. Many of those jobs and their nature will change. 20 years ago, we didn't have something called as a digital marketer, right? 20 years ago, Google itself was quite new. And today we have moved to the point where AI is threatening to replace Google as a search engine probably, right? So a lot of these jobs, even going forward, let's say even in digital marketing, which came into place just 20 years ago, many of those jobs are also going away to be replaced by maybe AI search optimization. So there's a lot of scope for lifelong learning, and I think everyone across the world has now realized that this lifelong learning needs to continue. And a lot of entrepreneurship will get built up as new platforms like AI come in. AI is opening up the doors for, earlier it used to take probably 1 million people to create a $1 billion company. Then we came to the computer age where it required a few thousand people. And now we have come into the AI age where it may require less than 10 people to create a $1 billion company, right? So the scope for entrepreneurship has increased significantly. But, Garima, while you are the moderator, I'll still want to ask you a question that at Adobe, you have a lot of experience working in the K-12 segment and universities, and as a leading technology company, right? How has your experience been in terms of incorporating such technology into these institutes?
Thank you, Aatash, for asking me that question. Let me go back. Let me take a step back and go 25 years back when I joined this education industry. At that point of time, skill word was something that was brewing up. And I remember my first job right after college was as an English language trainer, and I soon became the branch manager of, in those days, it was the British School of Language. That time, these were like relevant courses. कहीं पे भी नौकरी करनी है, इंग्लिश आनी चाहिए है, और हमारे रोड के क्रॉस NIT का सेंटर होता था, IT skills. 2 basic skills everybody needs. So obviously, my institute, which I was driving, I was, my business was doing very well. But soon, I would say the IT revolution started coming up. And that is when we realized that this is not enough. And while the industry was moving forward, and I think this is one thing that, I decided, it was a conscious decision that I also need to move according to the industry. Just by knowing spoken English, it's not enough. You need to have basic IT. And then IT soon became Industry 4.0, then it was data, it was X, Y, Z skills, and today we have landed with AI. So look at the way things have progressed, and this is something that I'm just talking from my experience of the last 25 years. But then when I look at my son, who's now 24, and he's an entrepreneur, he didn't do any of these things in his school. In his Sri Ram school, it was very different. Of course, he had to get secure pass marks, but they had a lot of other skills which he was doing. We had dramatics, students were good at music, there was dance, there was a science club, there was this club, that club, and of course a creativity club as well. And as an educationist mother, it was equally important to understand that yes, while education is changing, skills are changing, IT industry is changing, the entire, I would say, the global economy is changing. We have to embed skills from schools. Unless and until you understand what skills are important to be successful. And by the way, this was again a great learning as a mother when my son was in school. When I was in school, if you get good marks, you had science. सबसे अच्छे बच्चे साइंस में होते हैं, डॉक्टर्स बनते हैं या इंजीनियर्स बनते हैं. नेक्स्ट BCom. थर्ड, that means आप लोग बिल्कुल पढ़ाई नहीं करते हो. So you are in arts section, right? You all agree with me? My generation. That is how things were looked at. And then when I looked at my son, when he was in school, oh my God, the brightest of all the kids were in arts. They said, I want to be a graphic designer. I want to take up fine arts. They were like all creative stuff. And of course, there were business people as well. There were, of course, you had science also, but then in addition to science, you could also do English, you could do maths. So there were a variety of choices. And I was surprised to see that most of my son's classmates, they wanted to be entrepreneurs. And somebody even wanted to join politics, by the way, and he's very successful in what he's doing. It's not at the end of the day how much you earn, but it's also about happiness that you bring with what you are doing. So those were the variety of roles that I saw, ambitious students really getting out there, believing in what they have to do and to get there. And that is when I think when I, from my Microsoft days to NSDC, finally when 9 years back when I joined Adobe, I changed the entire thing. I said, we have to start at the school level first. And by the way, our programs are absolutely free of cost for all schools. And we're working very closely with Shiv Nadir Noida as well. The digital tools have to be provided at K-12 so that they understand the value of creativity, value of digital. And it is not just only if you want to become an IT professional, you have to use IT. It can be something on a daily basis as a part of your normal learning outcomes and skills routine. And then progressively, if you keep adding skills, A, you're not burdening the students. B, it has to be a joyful, enjoyable learning. C, leave it to them to decide what careers that they want to pursue, or even if they want to have a small entrepreneurship or a boutique firm of theirs. So if that answers your question, Aatash. Sorry, a long explanation, but I wanted to share here.
Thanks, Garima.
We can now open it to the audience for some question and answers before we wrap. Yes, please, sir.
Good afternoon for such an interesting conversation. My name is Vikas Jain. I am a podcaster and also building world-class content. And we are at a massive level talking about competitive programming. So I'm just curious that if you look closely, competitive programming is something which is required at the recruitment at Adobe. Say, as a software engineer, colleges are doing competitive programming, and I'm sure Rahul will agree that they are also doing competitive programming. But why we are not talking it explicitly? Like, people are just thinking that there is something which is done to get there in the top product companies, but we all know ICPC, IOI, but it's not talked explicitly. So I'm just curious that why we are not using at all this word like competitive programming. Anyone, any thought?
Maybe I'll answer this. So again, when we teach students to become a software developer, or we train them to become software developer, competitive programming is such an integral part. If I were to take analogy, like somebody who is preparing themselves to become a cricket player, they would be spending quite a lot of time in terms of empowering themselves. Like they go to gym, they go to play different. They might run and do treadmill and all of that. But ultimately, what gets seen is how they have performed in the actual ground. So to me, competitive program is like a gym to train your mind and brain to be able to solve problems using technology, while the actual performance or the art that you need to perform is in terms of, be it a full stack development, or be it in terms of a data scientist or a machine learning engineer. So I think competitive programming is like a meta skill, which is needed and essential. But more importantly, in today's world, when we interact with more than 3,000 plus IT companies, they do not bother about how capable you are or what's your ability. They are more bothered about you being in a position to create value to the companies right from day zero. They do not want, it's very different when we are talking about companies like Adobe or Microsoft or Google, where they invest on capital, human capital. They are not looking at getting the return on investment in 6 months or 1 year down the lane. So they might be investing in a long term in terms of retaining the human capital, and they look at them as an asset. So they would be looking at the ability piece. But if you were to look at long tail of companies, I think there are thousands of companies which are creating massive employment all across the globe, be it in the form of startups or small and medium scale enterprises. So they are not in a position to, they need immediate return on investment for the talent that they hire. So they look at more specific skills, while meta skills are important, but they need more specific skills so that they would be able to start creating value from day zero. That's why more of skills like data science, machine learning, and full stack skills or Gen AI skills are more talked about. And but ultimately, I'm sure every EdTech who is training the students to become a data scientist or machine learning engineer or full stack, they have it as part of the curriculum to teach problem solving using data structures and algorithms, which is foundational for competitive programming.
I think with that, we'll end the panel, because I think the next panelists are also here. But thank you very much, everyone. If you have any further questions, we are available here for some more time. Thank you.